Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chapter 14, Lesson 2, Tolbert's class. Chapter 14, Lesson 2, Tolbert's class. Let's talk about what's on the inside of the atom. We talked about a little bit of that before, but we're going to expound on that just to give you a general idea about the various sizes of these subatomic particles and their locations. The mass of the nucleus determines the mass of an atom because the protons and the neutrons are much larger or more massive than the electrons. In fact, and you need to know this, the proton is 1,836 times heavier than the electron. Okay, so you're going to want to note that, ladies and gentlemen. So you need to know that the proton is bigger or more massive than the electron. You can also see that resulted situation in the picture here. Notice that there is the proton, and this little guy here is the electron. One is very, very small. The proton lives in the nucleus. The electron goes around the outside. The other thing that's about the same size as the proton is that neutron. Okay? You need to know that the protons and neutrons are bigger, way bigger than the electron. Please copy this down. Here's where you find this proton and neutron. It's in the center, or what we call the nucleus of the atom. The nucleus is the center of the atom. It's made up of protons and neutrons. A positively charged subatomic particle in the nucleus of an atom are the red faces. The second pick is the current quantum mechanics view. So this is just an idea of what the protons. Protons are positively charged. Neutrons are neutral. They live in the nucleus. Neutron, like Jimmy Neutron, subatomic particle, it has no charge. The neutron is neutral, no charge. A tiny negatively charged particle moving around the outside of the nucleus is called the electron. The electron is moving at close to the speed of light around the outside. You need to know the electron is tiny and it's moving around the outside. Please write this down in your word maps. This is going to give you the general idea of what the size, the charge, the mass, and the location of each of these particular subatomic particles. Proton, neutron, they're roughly about 1.76 times 10 to the negative 27. They both exist in the nucleus, whereas the electron is moving around the outside, and that is 9.11 times 10 to the negative 31. It is much, much smaller. I also would like you to have this down. This is the way I'd like you to think of an atom. This is a visual organizer diagram. The atom, the nucleus is the center of the atom. It has most of the mass and has all of the positive charge. The electron cloud is on the outside of the nucleus and most of the volume. But since the electron is negatively charged, the electron cloud should be negatively charged as well. You need to know, in that nucleus, the protons and the neutrons live there. Protons are positively charged, where neutrons are neutral. Let's give you a little bit about Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr. In 1913, a Danish scientist named Niels Bohr made a model of the atom by analyzing the spectra produced by hydrogen using complex mathematics. He was able to conclude that the electrons contain certain energy levels outside of the nucleus. According to Bohr, there were 7 areas in which the nucleus and electrons could be found. He called these electron energy level. These energy levels, and you need to know this, determine the chemical and the physical properties of the element. So the picture here is just basically showing you kind of what Niels Bohr believed how it was set up. Believed that the nucleus was in the center of the atom. The nucleus was in the center of the atom, and the electrons could possibly exist filling up these orbitals around the outside, kind of like the sun orbits, kind of like the Earth orbits the sun. There are, you need to know, 7 energy levels. And you should also write this in your word maps. He further concluded that these energy levels are where these electrons could be found. These are what I would like to call the magic numbers. On the first energy level, can hold 2 electrons. The second, 8, 18, 32, and 18. You need to know those. Those are what I call the magic numbers. While energy level is capable of holding more than 8 electrons, it is the outside that determines the reactivity. We call that electron on the outermost energy level the valence electrons. Today's periodic tables are based on these things, and your periodic table corresponds to that relationship.
While Rutherford proposed that negatively charged electrons were held in orbit by the positively charged nucleus, he did not describe the location of the electrons. Niels Bohr proposed that electrons move in orbits around the nucleus, and he proposed that these orbital tabs, or energy levels, are located at various distances from the nucleus. Today, we refer to Bohr's theory as the Bohr model of the atom.
Alrighty, and that's where we'll stop. This will be the end of Lesson 2, Chapter 14. This is the end of Lesson 2, Chapter 14.